Church in China by Ethan Thomas and Timothy Dodge.
In the beginning, it was very difficult for missionaries to enter into China. Dominican, Jesuit, and Franciscan missionaries all tried but were unsuccessful. The Yuan dynasty saw little use for the missionaries to be there. The Ming dynasty did, however. The Ming dynasty wanted the missionaries to provide something to help the country, not just to bring their faith. The picture on the bottom left is of the Yuan dynasty, and the picture on the bottom right is of the Ming dynasty, both compared to modern-day China.
John of Monte Corvino. John was a Catholic Franciscan missionary from Italy, born in 1247 and died in 1328. He worked as a missionary in Armenia, Persia, India, and China. He was appointed Archbishop of Peking, now Beijing, in 1307 by Pope Clement V. It has been said that John had baptized Kai-Shin Kulug, the then Emperor of China, and his mother. However, historians argue if this was true or not. The image on the right is John of Monte Corvino.
Matteo Ricci. Matteo Ricci was an Italian Jesuit priest. He was born in 1552 and died in 1610. He was the first missionary to be invited into China by their government. His knowledge of astronomy and math was highly sought after by the Chinese. He soon adopted the Chinese customs and their way of life. He also said Mass in Chinese, which would soon become a problem. The image in the top right is of Matteo Ricci in traditional Chinese garments. Falling out of Catholicism in China. At first, the Congregation of Propagation of the Faith liked the Jesuit style to missionary work in China because it was very successful. However, there was friction between the Jesuits and Spanish friars on the saying of Mass in Chinese and the adopting of Chinese cultural customs. In 1704, Pope Clement XI sided with the Spanish friars and decreed that to adopt the Christian faith, the Mass must be said in Latin. The Emperor of China at the time, Emperor Yongzheng, was not happy. Emperor Yongzheng is depicted in the picture below. The persecution of Chinese Christians. The Emperor's response to the Pope's decision was persecution. He felt threatened by the Christians and thought that they were trying to secretly control the country. Historians still can't find a perfect number as to how many Christians died during this persecution. This persecution lasted through his son's rule until the mid-1800s. Some saints that were killed during this persecution were Bishop Peter Sanz, Francis Serrano, Francis Diaz, and others. These other martyrs are celebrated on the Feast of Martyrs of Saints of China, which is July 9th. The image below is a famous metalwork depicting some of these martyrs.
Return of Catholicism. Eventually, new Jesuit missionaries were sent to China in 1842. China had just finished the First Opium War, which was a conflict between China and Britain in which the British were importing opium into China from India. This caused widespread addiction and left the country weak. The Qing dynasty had opened the borders to missionaries. These new missionaries created a headquarters in Shanghai. From there, the Jesuits could access the Chinese Christians more directly. The image on the right is a picture of a modern-day Chinese Catholic church in Shanghai. The church in China today. After the formation of the People's Republic of China, only government-regulated religion was permitted. Catholicism in China can only be practiced under the supervision of the state. Catholics in China are still being persecuted for their religion. They are being imprisoned and martyred. Today, there is an underground church where the Chinese Christians can worship in secret. There is an estimated 8 million Chinese Catholics in this underground church. image below is a picture of a prayer session in this underground church. Thank you for listening.